This is Steve Zeltzer with Workweek, and we're in Italy, Naples, and talking about the political situation, the struggles of the working class here in Italy. There's going to be a general strike, and we're here with
Diego Alberto Biancolin from TIR.
Daniele Si Cobas.
So why don't you talk about the political situation here in Italy, why there's going to be a general strike, and what workers are doing to organize politically against the economic attacks and also the danger of a world war?
First of all, this is a very important general strike because in recent times here in Italy we already had 3 general strikes. Most of them declared by just one union organization. In this case, several union organizations, grassroots unions, have declared the general strike. So there is a larger movement than before, waiting for disappointment. In the case of the 20, the most important requests are the end of the genocide in Palestine, the end of all the military defense, in particular regarding the current wars from Ukraine to Sudan, better wages, so there is a problem of salary here in Italy very bad, rise the salary, and also the liberty to organize on the work field and to do union activities like strikes.
And what is your organization doing? I know, are the unions, the major unions in Italy, involved in this strike and struggle?
So let's say I mainly work in the political field. I am not actually in the first person on the first line when it comes to union struggles. However, it must be stressed, as Daniele already said, that this is a matter of some and the most combative grassroots unions. And so the big firms, so to speak, of traditional unions in Italy, which is CGL, CISL and WIL, do not agree to this kind of struggle. They actually side with the government and its wars. They foster such a climate so as that Italy and Italians may be more willing to join an imperialist war, and that is why this kind of strike is important, because it has mainly political demands, which is to say it deals with the requests and the needs, the immediate needs of the workers, but it has to be understood in a broader perspective within a system as a moment in the struggle against a social system and a specific social formation, the capitalist one.
And the Si Cobus is a militant independent union of logistic workers. You've had other activities against war, against U.S. military weapons coming through Italy. What does Si Cobus see in the coming period? Because as you know, Trump has supported Meloni, the Meloni government. And what does this mean?
It's a continued activity against the war and against the economy of war. It's rapidly in preparation here in Italy an economy of war to sustain the imperialistic Italian interests all over the world. It's a big deal, of course, in alliance with all the rest of the imperialistic powers, including the United States. It's a continued activity because continuously there are problems on the work field. Of course, most of them related to economic needs of workers. So a good part of the activity as Si Cobas is to collect these requests, to sustain on an economic plan a fight in order to get better conditions of work and life, and to link those economic requests to more general political requests. First of all, again, to fight against war and economy of war. Just one thing, on the 20 there will be also another union in Italy, very important, the biggest one, the CGL, in strike in the automotive sector, because the general national contract on that sector has not been renewed. So again, it's a sign that there is a large, intense problem in all working sector, affecting literally most of the population. And this is why on the 20 will be a Si Cobas in action. Si Cobas is the main union in the logistics sector in Italy. We know the logistics sector is strategic for most of the other economic sectors, so it will be a strike affecting effectively the economic interest, and will be also in action with an eye to what's going on in the United States, because we know that facts occurring them regard all the working class at the world level, and they also have an important point of developing specifically regarding the unions, the workers, and taking action as workers.
And as you know, the Trump government has launched raids, called out the National Guard, the Marines, against immigrants to repress immigrants. They're raiding factories. But you in Cobus, I understand, have also faced repression, attack on immigrant members of your union. What's the relationship of this attack on immigrants, both in the United States and in Italy?
Most of Si Cobas workers are immigrant workers coming from all over the world, and most of them come from countries where repression is really deeper than here in Italy, than here in Europe, and also than in the US, where the repression is higher than in Europe. This is why we know this kind of situation, not only for indirect experience of the working movement, but because of the real life experience of a lot of workers, members of the Si Cobas union. What's going on there at the government level is to try, on the one side, to prevent major protests, because doing wars everywhere in the world, trying to catch more profit everywhere in the world, in the US, is a problem today with the international crisis. So of course the power, also the government at the governmental level, has to contain current protests and to prevent larger protests. This is exactly what's going on here in Italy with the current government. Meloni is the prime minister, but also with the previous government, both the ones of the left wing and both the ones of the right wing. So it's a continuous activity, not only at the legislative plan, but also at the repressive plan against workers and against all people fighting against this system. And this is why on the 20th of June we call for the general strike, to a larger protest. All the workers, not only the ones in logistics organized with Si Cobas, and also to all the people involved in fights here in Italy, in order to make a clear sign to this government, to the bosses, but also at the international level, that taking action is possible to sustain this current repression and to prevent deeper and deeper coup of the power.
Now, fascism is growing internationally, and
A larger front able to contrast this situation effectively.
Luigi Mangione has become a popular figure in the United States. What do you think about Luigi Mangione?
Also in Italy we have knew the story of Luigi Mangione. Of course what he did had a very large impact, not only on US society, not only for the fact that it was something related to this enormous problem of healthcare, of the right to be cured in case of necessity, but also because it was an act of reaction to this system of exploitment, oppression, especially in the US, very hard, but all over the world, not at the end in the very sense of the term, but historically in a crisis enormous.
Sacco and Vanzetti were Italian Americans who were murdered because they were communists, they were socialists. Today in the United States, workers are dying because they can't get health care. And also, I understand in Italy, health care is under attack here by the government.
Certainly their story, Sacco and Vanzetti story, is still very known and very present, not only in the collective memory, also in the daily action of so many people all over the world, not only in the US, Italy. They were comrades, they were workers, they were immigrants, and their lesson still count today, both in the sense of their success and their errors, because still today repression is every day a problem for militants, for workers, for proletarians taking actions against this system.
Do you think internationalism is growing?
It's growing. At the time of Vanzetti and Sacco, probably, for what is my knowledge, was really more widespread than today. But the potential today is not comparable to the one of the time, because today we are almost 8 billion of people on Earth, divided in countries, divided by religion, divided by political opinions, but finally unified, deeply unified, but the material conditions of life. And this is the most important element as a factor of solidarity, union, and organization.
And what would you like to say to the American working class?
To be ready, because it's the time. It's a time of an historical crisis, so it's the time for the working class, the world working class, to come back in the sense of being active as unions and above all politically. And what's going on there in US, the protests from Los Angeles, California to other cities still ongoing, has a very positive effect here in Europe. So first of all, I express solidarity with all the people, workers, proletarians protesting there. I express solidarity with the organizations involved in those protests, and I hope, I warmly advise to continue this path, preparing a real big general strike in the US. It's time.